Hey guys, this is Kaiser, welcome to another of my videos. This time we are going to talk about some tactics for getting done Paradox with all side bosses up. This means Odyssey fit. For doing this I'm going to have the help of my league mates. Hanblase here for the controller point of view, then IcyBar for the tank point of view, and then Laladie for DPS point of view as well. So say hello guys.
Hello guys, this is Hanblase.
Yo, this is Icy.
Yo, this is Laladie.
Okay, so let's get started. First, we are going to name the pillars to have some situation about the map. Where I am standing is pillar 1, and where Hanblase is standing is pillar 2, and then where Icy is standing is pillar 3, and where Laladie is standing is pillar 4.
Alright. So, let's assume the raid starts. The tank aggroes the bus, and everything starts rolling. Let's assume there's no faces and no mini bosses, just the main boss. There is one dangerous attack of the main boss, literally one, and that's his hard rolling. His hard rolling can wipe a group if the group doesn't know how to position themselves. What we do as League, most of the time we stay around this spot. We call this the pillar 1 spot. This is not just a safe spot. It doesn't prevent the boss from not rolling on you, but the rolls of the boss at this spot don't hit you hard enough to kill you most of the time. This is not the only spot where the boss can kill you while rolling. Like everywhere between pillar 1 and 3 is kind of okay to stand, but if you stand in between the pillars, let's say pillar 1 and 2 or pillar 2 and 3 and so on, and between pillar 3 and 4, especially between pillar 1 and 2 where Gina, or I mean Laladie, is laying right now, this is the ending of the main boss's roll, so this will get you killed. So positionating is the most important factor doing this raid, and this place is the safest spot we know.
Doing the Odyssey feat is not really about having enough damage or having enough power or enough heal out. You will see that at the end of the day it's about the group's positioning, and if you don't follow that, the raid won't end up too well. So basically you always have to look out for your surroundings, you always have to look out for those balls that are attacking. You can stay here, it's good to stay here, but if you try to stay here, like let's say this spot, you will be hit by the balls, so that means that you'll be crowd controlled, where the balls will push you away, you will receive a lot of damage, and it will take you out of your game, so you won't be able to DPS, or you won't be able to give power or heal or whatnot.
Okay, so let's continue. Icy?
Alright, so that's without all the outside factors. So what happens next is there's a possibility of two phases. The cage phase, well, we call it the cage phase, where two random players get caged, or a pillar phase. When someone gets caged, let's talk about the pillar phase first. When a pillar phase starts, we leave pillar 1 alone, and we start destroying pillar 2, followed by pillar 3, followed by pillar 4, and then we continue with pillar 1. This because we can actually positionate ourselves in the safe spot, what we call the safe spot, while killing the last pillar, so we're exactly in the place we want to be. When there's the caging, there's two spots where people get caged. This is one of them, and the other one is the opposite side. I guess everybody knows. Unless it's a healer or a tank caged in this area, we always try to free this area first. There's a reason for that, because the moment this guy in here is free, he moves himself to what we call the safe spot, and somebody frees the other guy in the other area, while the tank positionates himself around this area, because if the Oppressor comes out first, which comes from that direction, the group is already standing in a good position, and the Oppressor aggroes the tank first, and me as tank, I always move the Oppressor towards this pillar, where I'm capable of pinning him in his position straight. So
So basically what you are saying is that the group needs to release first the right side unless the healer or the tank are cased.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason therefore is, if the Oppressor comes out, the tank can just take the aggro straight from here, move him to this position, while the group is already in position and can start doing hardcore damage, while the tank pins him in this pillar.
As a small character, do you have problems with blocking the running?
Yeah. As a small character, I have I'm like a ramp, because when he does the rushing attack, when he runs towards the group, he targets someone and runs towards the group, my body becomes a ramp. So usually when I tank, I use a form changer. This is a form changer, or you can use a trinket. It doesn't last long enough for 4 bosses, usually for 3 bosses, so that's your risk. But most of the tanks are big anyway. I'm one of the few small tanks, so most tanks don't have a problem with that. We can continue talking about the mini bosses, how we tackle them. So we already introduced the Oppressor. We can continue with the Oppressor.
Okay, sure.
So let's assume a cage phase happened. We freed the guy on the right side first. Let's say there was no healer and tank caged, and then we freed someone with a shield. That's really important. Someone with a shield freed the other guy. I positioned myself here while everybody else is already in pillar 1 safe spot. The Oppressor comes out. I just give him a pull. Don't even need it, to be honest, because I'm the only one close enough for him to target. I move myself here because he follows me anyway. He rushes, he attacks me. I positionate myself so that I'm sure that he can't rush the group. I'm sure that me, my body, and the pillar is blocking him. Of course, I need the help of the group with this, because the group also need to positionate themselves, so the boss is in between the pillar and me. After his running, he will do a bash attack, or I don't know how you want to call it. It's just a hard hit. The tank has to block that, but I guess all the tanks know. After that, he does his first encasement. I think it's better if Hanblase takes over here.
Yeah, alright, I will take over. The person he encases is the person that is last in his possibility of targeting. So let's say that I'm the furthest one away. When he raises his hands up in an upward motion, it's a pretty symbolic way of him doing it. The best thing to do for you would be to either roll out of it, or you can go forward on it, or it might be a bit of a risk. It depends of your weapon always. You could lunge at him, and since you can clip all the weapon attacks, you could stay behind. When he starts doing that, you lunge at him and usually clip it with a power. So you really have to be careful for that, because if he encases somebody, so let's say that I don't manage to dodge his encasement, I will be closed in a ball, which you probably know, and in a matter of a few seconds, if somebody doesn't pick me up and hit the ball on the ground, I will die. And that means that we have to lose some time by killing me, by rezzing me back up. So that really takes some time from the other troller, let's say, who would probably res me, because as a controller you should always be the one that's kind of furthest away, so you can have the perspective of seeing everything that's happening in front of you. So you could call that another boss is out, or you could call that somebody is dead, or you can see that somebody is dead and you can say that you're picking them up. Of course, as a controller you should always have a shield on your loadout, because it can be really useful. Shields in controller role are a lot stronger than the shields in let's say DPS role. So basically, the thing that I like to do is stay in the back and use my weapon attacks. When I see him trying to move his hands anyway, I just roll away from it.
Okay, so let me point something here. While the tank is tanking near the pillar and one of the floors is trying to dodge the encasement, back there where Hanblase is standing, the rest of the DPS will need to stay in line with the tank. So in front of the pillar. So when the Oppressor is going to run, the tank has a lot of chances of blocking him. And also we need to stay here, because then a lot of supply drops are going to drop, and we are going to share the supplies. We are going to share that damage, we are going to share that boost of power, and we are going to increase our DPS by standing all together. And also, do not forget to not stand between pillar 1 and 2, because one of the most common mistakes is trying to split a bit, and many players try to move a little bit, and this position where I am standing is a bit risky, because if the main boss starts to roll, you have a lot of chances of getting pulled and getting knocked out, and then you risk the group for having a wipe. So better stay here, try to be all together or close to each other, and try to share your supply drops and stuff in order to make a proper defense.
Yeah. Yeah, to add on top of that, not only you get knocked out while staying here, because this is where the main boss roll ends. Usually when you die here, you also get pushed into the balls, which is like a raid wiper, because you need all the 8 people in your raid to finish Odyssey feat, unless it's maybe already at the end. So, I guess we can add a few points on the Oppressor. I don't know if someone else wants to add something.
Well, I mean,
Something maybe that we missed?
Not really. I mean, I think that we covered most of it. The only thing is, you know his attacks. You know when he kind of yells at you, so you need to look out for that. He has some kind of a yelling attack when he puts his hands in front of him and then pulls them back quickly.
Yeah, well, I
so
can give
that's
the
an
tanks
AoE
a few
attack.
Tips.
Yeah,
I guess
sure.
I can give the tanks a few tips. I mean, you need to melee tank the Oppressor. You block him with the pillar, so you need to stay positionated all the way, and the group must positionate with you, or else you'll still escape from his position. While I'm tanking, I try to save my reflection, but that's not really necessary. As long as you block, you're not gonna die if the healer's up. The Oppressor is not strong enough, but I try to use my reflection for his one strong attack. He has like a attack where he moves both of his arms in a fast way and spits something or shoots something forward, you know, like a slash attack, you know. Apart from that, I'm not focused on the mini boss because he's not worth being focused on. I usually look at the main boss. The main boss does his thing still, you know. He keeps on rolling, and while he's finished his rolling, he starts shooting his lasers. If I get the chance, if the boss is close enough, I turn myself, and people may want to know what I have in my loadouts, but I have actually 2 pulls. It's not necessary, but one of the pulls is low pressure. I know many tanks don't use it, but I like to use it because it aggroes into the direction I pull to. So basically I turn myself away from the mini boss to the main boss, and I make a pull. I can't do the pull now, or else I will just start the raid. But that's what I basically do. And if he's in range, I take the aggro as well, just to make it easier for the group, so they don't get the lasers and I get the lasers.
Okay, so let's continue to meta.
Yeah, I just want to add one more thing. I can add this at the other mini bosses too, but we need to add it somewhere. While fighting the boss, the next phase is gonna go in work. This can be either the pillar phase or the cage phase. If it's gonna be the pillar phase, you're gonna see why this tactic is ideal, because while I'm tanking here and the group is killing the mini boss, and try to look out to killing him at least up to 60% before the phase kicks in. Then you know that you're good on your way, at least 60%. If the pillar phase starts, the AoEs of everybody is nuking this pillar down very fast while killing the boss. You don't even have to aim for the pillar, which means this pillar is gonna be this pillar is not gonna harm you anymore, which means you have 8 men, 3 just killing a boss at this pillar. That's perfect. There's another phase that can happen. That's the cage phase. If the cage phase happens, usually 2 players get caged. Sometimes, if you're lucky, 1 player gets double caged. What's really important is teamwork and communication. The moment 2 players get caged, let's say, if you're not very unlucky and not a healer gets caged, or 2 trollers, but let's say a DPS and a troller, or a DPS and a DPS, what is important is that you don't panic and you don't suddenly all spread out trying to get the balls and try to free people. In fact, we do a few things while we do this. Usually we shout out the guys that have the most shields, either a DPS or a troller or whatsoever. These guys, we know them from the start of the raid. We shout them out. And you want to say something on this?
No, I'm just saying that I have shields.
Alright, yeah, well, so I'm tanking most of the time, but also I'm doing this shielding stuff together with Hanblase. Usually it's him and me. And what we do is, while the group is doing its thing, while the tank is tanking and the healer is healing and trollers are giving power, let's say I'm DPSing, I shout out, guys, alright, no panic, I'll do the freeing. So only one guy is responsible for the freeing, and this one guy has a responsibility because if he dies somewhere outside of the area where the group is, he's hard to get rest. So be sure that you know what you're doing. Look at the main boss while you're carrying a wall. That's really important because you can get hit by a roll and you will die. That's the last thing you want to happen.
Well, that about covers, I think, the beginning aspect. I think we kind of got it a bit long, didn't we?
Yeah,
well, I mean, I think Icy, you can take over a bit for the second boss, the warrior, the meta.
Yeah,
what do you have to say about him?
Let's talk about the warrior. Let's assume the group is still... I think Laladie wanted to relook, by the way. So let's assume the group is still standing here. We ended the phase, either the pillar phase or a cage phase. I position it myself here. You know, let's assume I haven't seen the Oppressor yet. If I have already seen the Oppressor, I'm never here anymore, and I'm always here because the Sentry is the second most important boss that the tank needs to aggro first. But let's assume the Oppressor wasn't out, and I'm still here. The warrior comes out. I take aggro straight, and he shoots at me. There's two ways of tanking the warrior. You can see whatever you wanna do, but I'll explain it in our way. You can melee tank him, and you can rage tank him. And what we prefer to do is range tank him, because when you range tank him, he does walk to you from time to time, but the tank gets shot the most of the balls. Not all of the balls, but most of the balls. And what I try to do is, if he comes out from this portal, I aggro him, I move him a bit until he's around here, and I'm obviously around there. I keep dodging the balls. That's really important. You need to know as a tank how to dodge the balls. If you don't know that, you will die and the group will die. Wipe. I move him a bit. Alright. I think Hanblase wants to say something.
Just one thing I wanted to add. The problem that you can have with a warrior boss or meta boss, however you want to call him, is his shooting. That's a one-shot attack that he does. And the thing about that is, since the tank is not melee tanking him, so that means that he has a lot of room to move himself. That means he can shoot at you at any given moment. It's kind of important that you really don't stay as tight as you would stay tight with oppression boss up. So it's nice to have some comfort. So if, let's say, he wants to shoot at you, you can have enough time to roll out of it, or you can have enough time to jump away. If you're all really crammed up together, if you try to roll out, somebody else will block you and a death might occur. Sorry, Icy, continue.
Yeah, so I assume I'm here and the warrior is around the first pillar there. While I got him this far, I can either continue walking around in a circle, making sure that, well, at least I try to make sure that the group doesn't really need to move a lot from the safe spot, because I want to keep the group at the safe spot, so I keep the boss in range for them. So I either walk in a circle, or I just lunge at him and I walk this way. I walk this way and he walks a bit to me again, and like that I am kind of outside of the arena, out of the fighting arena, moving the boss a bit, you know, keeping him in range for the group and dodging the most of the balls. That's really important. Now we continue with the meta.
Okay, nice thing before you continue with meta. One thing with meta is that you don't need to stay in pillar 1, but remember what Icy said at the beginning of this video. You can stay in between pillar 1 and 3 in this straight line from the middle, pillar 1 to 3. So you can DPS, because in many times, as Hanblase had said, you need to roll away and you may not be able to stand always in pillar 1. So if you need to move, try to stay in line between these pillar 1 and 3 so you can DPS. You will attack his meta or warrior, however you want to call it. He won't get out of range. As long as you are in this range, for example where I am standing, I'm not in pillar 1, but for example if I see his tanking warrior in the outside of the arena, from here I'm going to hit the boss as well, so don't worry for not standing in pillar 1, but as long as you don't stay in between pillars, everything should be okay. That's it, you can continue now.
Yeah, so a few facts you need to know about the warrior. A warrior is doing all the time the same, you know, he's following the tank, spitting at the tank and occasionally spitting at the group. until he reaches 3 points. That's
No, but that's Sentry.
That is-
That's Sentry.
no. Until he that's the warrior. Until he reaches 3 points. That is 75% of his HP, 50% of his HP, and 25% of his
Ah,
HP.
you mean the
Oh, you see,
special?
I totally,
Yeah.
I totally forgot. to
Okay,
mention
sorry.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sorry.
so when this happens, usually as tank, I give the group immunity, so they don't get sucked in. Oh yeah, well, at these moments, you know, at the 75%, 50%, and 25% of his HP, it will always happen. He starts targeting one person and he sucks him inside. Well, he sucks the whole group inside, basically, but he targets one person. It's really important to make sure that he's not gonna cast his attack, because all he's doing is charging his super attack, and he will perform the super attack if the person he looked at, basically if the person he targeted is in his range. So all you need to do is to figure out if you're the person he targeted or not. If I'm DPSing and I'm not the person he targeted, I don't even move, I don't waste time, I continue DPSing. But if I notice he's targeted me, and I know that very quickly, not because I'm sucked in or not, you just make a slight move to the left or to the right. Let's assume, Kaiser, let's assume I'm the boss, and you make a slight move to the left. You know, the boss will follow.
So basically you are saying there's a way to prevent or to know if you are being targeted or no, or not.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And just move, and the boss will basically look in your way. If you know that it's you, give a sign to the group so they don't have to worry and they don't waste time and continue doing that thing, DPSing or whatever, while you move slightly out of range until you see clearly that he wanted to do his attack but failed to do it, and come back into the safe spot. While going out of range, don't go crazy, don't jump into the blue balls, or don't go in between the pillars, you know. You can easily just move between pillar 1 and 3. Play it safe, that's the most important thing, you know. This happens 3 times, you pass this 3 times and your DPS is strong enough, I'm sure you will get him down quick enough. I think we covered warrior, unless you guys have still something to say about him.
Yeah, I think that would be about it. Maybe if you could just add the way that you can make him throw his balls in the air with the jump.
Yeah, well, that is I guess something they need to train with, or people need to train with, or just try before shooting. I mean, oh yeah, this is a tip for the tank. You know, in fact, you don't need to roll away from the balls if you know exactly how the mechanic of his balls work. Basically, what the warrior does, he predicts the place will be. So if I'm just standing here tanking him, and let's say Hanblase is the boss and he's gonna shoot a ball at me, then he will shoot exactly at me. If I am moving towards this direction, depending on my speed, the boss will actually predict where I will be. If I were still moving at the moment, he will shoot the ball. So in fact, and trust me, this is truth, try it for yourself. If a tank is moving and the boss is gonna shoot the ball, and let's say this is the moment he shoots the ball and I stop, the ball is actually gonna land there and I don't even need to roll. What I used to do back in the days when I didn't understand the mechanic, I was sometimes panicking, running into this direction, and when the boss shot, I rolled. What happened is I rolled exactly in the ball, and I was like, holy shit, this boss is really a boss, you know. He's like super. He has like super aim, but in fact he's just predicting you where to be. Which means if you're good enough and you know how the mechanic works and you know when he's gonna shoot, just before he shoots, if you jump in the air, he's actually gonna shoot up. So you don't even need to do much. This also applies to the DPS, to the healers, trollers, everyone. If he targets you and you jump up just before he shoots, he's gonna actually shoot into the sky, which means you just pause your DPSing for a second and continue DPSing. You can watch the speed feed video after, and maybe you'll have an example of when this happens. I'm not sure if it's in there. Maybe
Yeah, Andrew used to do it, I think.
Yeah, you'll see some balls going up basically.
Okay.
Okay, next one up is Sentry, I guess, unless you guys want to add something.
No, let's continue to Sentry.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, Sentry. Sentry can be a bit problematic because of his shields. He's the boss. I always say the DPS, you know, if we notice DPS may not be strong enough to nuke him hardcore, I always say keep your supercharges for the Sentry, because he really needs the most DPS, especially if you miss if you miss disabling a shield of his. But let's start at the start. Let's assume the Oppressor is not out. I'm still standing here. The group is still standing at the safe spot. As a tank point of view, I need to make sure if the Sentry comes out, and I always tell the group, the Sentry comes out, the first thing I shout, guys, don't attack him yet, let me take aggro. That's the first. And because I'm the most far away, and I say use a shield if possible, and if not, jump. Because if you jump and he spits, because he spits like 5 balls, that's his first attack he's gonna do. The balls, likewise at the warrior, may go up and not hit you, you know? So I fly or I move as fast as possible to this area and I start pulling the Sentry. What I try to do as tank, I try to move him, although moving him is kind of random. Sometimes he jumps, sometimes he stays in his place and does a stomp attack, but I try to move him around to this pillar because this is the closest one he got out. But if he, after a jump, any pillar works. What happens, there's 4 pillars. When a shield pops out, the ball spawns at a pillar, you know, this is pillar 2, I'm giving you pillar 2 as example, but it can be a pillar 3, pillar 4, pillar 1, doesn't matter which one is the closest works. As tank, always try to move him to this pillar, but never face him to the group, and the group never stand near or behind the tank because of the spits. Because the tank is gonna catch most of the spits. As a tank, it's very important to aggro the spider, especially as ice tank, to aggro the spider all the time. Keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. Don't melee tank, just range tank, but keep pulling, because he de-aggroes very quick, and the moment he spits and someone is not shielded, he will die. So keep pulling, keep having the aggro. Try to pinpoint him at this position, even though that's not easy. Don't worry. Your DPSs or throwers can just move quickly to another pillar, grab a ball and throw it. You know, it's not the end of the world. But yeah.
Okay, so I as DPS, as Icy said before, DPSs should save their supercharges for Sentry, because for us or for me it's the hardest mini boss to kill. So when you are going to use your supercharges, don't spam them at the very first moment the Sentry is out. Just wait until the first shield is removed, and if you are going to use your supercharge, try to use it at the very moment the shield is removed, because your window to DPS in between shields is not that huge, so you need to use your supercharges wisely, do not waste them. So if you are not sure if a shield is going to come soon, just save your supercharge for the next shielding, to be sure you are going to max out damage with that supercharge, because it's really important, the supercharges in this boss. So if the shield is just being removed, use your supercharges, and if you can use your supercharge with a supply drop, even better. That's it. I just wanted to point that.
Yeah.
And I'll add one thing. I mean, if Icy doesn't manage to get off the shield, as a troller, as I said, you should always stay the furthest one away. So let's say he has him facing at pillar 2, but the shield breaker can get bugged sometimes, it can fall under the ground. So it's not something that you can really control, and that, as a controller, you should always stay around here, where you will be in max range of debuffing every 10 seconds, and from there you can easily pick up the ball and just throw it, because there used to be earlier where you had to get closer in order to break the shield.
Yeah.
But thankfully they changed that. So it's a lot more forgiving now. It's harder for you to fail breaking a shield. So as a troller, just stay here and throw it. Don't let your DPSs move. So that will take them some time to throw and then to start doing their combos and things and whatnot they're supposed to do.
Yeah, you just missed DPSing. I forgot to mention why I tried to pinpoint him here, because if he's here and he gets into the shield and the ball spawns and he's on top of it, it automatically breaks his shield, so you don't have to pick up anything, you don't have to throw anything. It's basically the fastest way to break his shield, the safest way to break his shield. But like I said, if it works, it works. Sometimes you can move him, sometimes you can't. And don't move him, I mean, don't be stubborn, you know, as tank. I mean, sure, you want to get him into position, but don't kill your group doing it, you know, because if he's that side behind the pillar and the group is positioned here, I'm not gonna stand here pulling the spider, trying to get him in front of the pillar while he's spitting at me and killing everyone behind me. You know, that's just the vibe. You know what you need to do most, even if you can't pin him there. I mean, try to face him away from the group. That's really important. That's your job. Try to face him away from the group. That's the only thing you can really do good. And putting him in on top of a ball or positioning him on top of a shield breaker, let's call it a shield breaker, that's just a bonus, you know, just see it as a bonus. The trollers can still always throw the walls. And guys, don't forget, we always make the same mistake still. Don't be too greedy to DPS, positionate yourself between pillar 1 and 3, and don't position yourself between, like where Hanblase is standing now and where I'm standing now, because that's just death.
Yeah, never listen to Hanblase.
Yeah, you're DPSing the mini boss, and before you know, the main boss makes his roll, and 2 guys are dead, which kinda can wipe a group because they're probably in balls, that you know. So stay in the middle while fighting the spider.
And also we forget to talk about the sentry will jump, and sometimes we jump to the group, and many times as we don't have much place to walk around or to stand, we are going to stand all together, so we need to dodge fast. And don't panic, this is important, because sometimes when the sentry jumps, not all the people are able to dodge as fast as the rest, so some may die, 1 or 2, so this is important not to panic. If 1 or 2 dies, it's okay, just continue, don't panic. You will get them up. Just don't try to panic up and start running around and messing up. Just stay calm, and whenever you can, you rest them up, but don't panic.
Yeah, and especially wait. Yeah, after sorry, Hanblase, I thought you were saying the same thing anyway. But when he jumps, it's followed by a stomp attack. That's what actually kills the people. And when these people die, don't jump in to resurrect them. Don't try to be a hero. Wait until he finishes his attack. The moment he finishes his attack, then try to resurrect them. If you manage to resurrect them, that's cool. You can continue. If not, it's probably a wipe, and you have to go over, you know, and give each other while fighting, give each other some space while fighting the spider, just for this reason, you know, when he jumps, that you don't block each other, that you have enough space to move. And share supplies. We forgot to mention at the start of the raid that when we share supplies, we actually call out like, guys, I'm gonna drop a supply in 3 seconds, so people know not to drop double supplies, you know.
One more thing I'd like to add. As a role other than a tank role, so let's say DPS, healer, and a controller role, you should try to position yourself somewhat around the same as you would do with meta. Not too close, but yet again not too far away, because of the jumping. Again, you can block each other with your bodies, you know. If he jumps on you and if you try to roll on the side and you can't do it, it might be because somebody is blocking you. So somewhere around the perfect positioning would be somewhere around where me and Kaiser are, like this, where you can go forward, you can go backwards, you can go to the left, or you can go to the right. That's all I wanted to add.
I guess we said everything about Sentry. We call him Spider sometimes, guys, sorry.
Yeah,
we're used to that.
Would be enough, I think.
Okay, so let's move on.
Let's go to the icing on the cake now, right?
Yeah, so the last boss we want to talk about is the Ravager. We are still positioned as a group, we're still positioned at pillar 1, this is really important. Even the tank, if the Oppressor wasn't out yet, as tank I'm still positioned here. If the Oppressor was out yet, but the Sentry wasn't, I'm positioned nearby the Sentry, so I can take the aggro of the Sentry ASAP. If you know both of them are out, then it doesn't really matter where you position it, because you know, I mean, all I'm trying to say is you don't need to be close to the fountain as tank. Why? Because he comes out here, he opens the door, he comes walking out, he makes some kind of shout or whatever, he stays at his position for 1 second, and what he does then is he's gonna charge at the group. It's inevitable, and it's gonna happen. What we want is him actually to charge to our safe spot. While charging to our safe spot, that's his first charge. All we need to know, there's 2 charges simultaneously. He's gonna do the first charge towards the group. The group dodges the first charge. Be careful though, if you dodge the first charge, you may go to pillar 1 and 2, in between pillar 1 and 2. And that may kill, the boss's roll may kill you, so don't forget, you can dodge your way here, but get back into the safe zone ASAP. After the first charge, as tank, I try to block the second charge, so he'll be around somewhere around this pillar. And I can't say now where he's gonna be, but he'll be not far from this pillar, if you do the blocking right, the second blocking. So the moment you block the second charge, the group can go into position, where basically Kaiser and Hanblase are standing right now, and start doing damage without even worrying about the main boss, because he's not gonna charge them. Even if the boss was standing next to them, exactly next to them, after the 2 charges, if the tank takes aggro, they can stand there and start DPSing. The main boss, the Ravager will come to the tank if he takes aggro well enough. Walk your way around the pillar. Don't take too much time, but walk your way and don't panic, but try to positionate him as fast as possible and pin him. The moment you pin him, the group can just do his thing. Now, you may think, is he actually gonna melee tank the Ravager? Yes, any tank can melee tank the Ravager. As ice tank, I can only give tips for ice tanks. You have a few shields. I don't know which one you're using, but reflection you're using for sure. And apart from that, it can be bitter winds or shatter restraints. Those are the weaker shields. The attacks of a Ravager, what he does is he does his 2 charges followed up by a few hits. He does 3 hits all the time. I think I have my brawlers on. No, I don't have my brawlers on. They're like this, you know, like 1, 2, 3, just like that. But each hit, at least to me as an ice tank, blocked mode with quite some defense. I think I have like 13k defense in tank mode, more or less. It does around 4k hits. I could survive, if I'm lucky, 2 hits simultaneously without getting any heals if I was full HP, because I have more than 8.5k HP, but it's risky. So what you need to do is the tank really needs to cooperate with the healer. I'll tell you how I do it. While I haven't pinned here, I usually pop my reflection when he's doing his 3 hits. I usually tell the healer, I got my reflection, don't worry. He does his 3 hits, 1, 2, 3. He gives you a little moment. He does something like this. He gives you a little moment, and you pop your second shield, either bitter winds or shatter restraints or whatever, and you go straight into blocking mode. Straight. Don't waste time. You need to be blocked most of the time. And then you say, hard hits incoming. Your weaker shield covers more or less a bit, maybe not all of the damage of the first hit, but the second and the third hit, the healer must out-heal that. After that, usually if you did it right, your reflection is kind of ready to be used again. So use your reflection, you block again, you tell the healer, okay, relax, I got reflection, and your reflection will cover at least the first 2 hits, maybe a bit of the third hit. After that, you continue again. You use your weaker shield and you tell the healer, hey, I got hard hits incoming, stuff like that, you know. In the meanwhile, he will run a few times, but that's basically his mechanic.
I gotta add, just for the controllers out there, it's really important to keep the debuffs rotated, because you guys know, I'll assume, that the debuff lasts 10 seconds. So every 10 seconds you need to redo a debuff, because the boss is positioned over here and you know that he spawns fountains which heal him. If you would do the boss in the hallway, it's maybe not that essential for you to give the healing debuff, because he would be running around and he would be split out or whatnot. Over here it's really important for controllers to have healing debuff on. So when they debuff him, he doesn't receive as much healing from the fountains as he would, because he would have, like, let's say 3 or 4 fountains somewhere around this spot, and he could be getting heals from most of them. So if you want to max out your DPS's damage, you really need to look out for that. So every 10 seconds make sure to pop a healing debuff.
Yeah. And guys, the most important thing is still, we've been talking about how you fight the bosses, but obviously there are gonna be phases, you know, and what you prefer is pillar phase, obviously, because in this situation, especially when you pin a boss to a pillar, you kill the pillar, so like the pillar doesn't even hurt you anymore. But even while cage phases, don't forget, name one person, or this person takes responsibility and says, I'll do the freeing, and don't panic, keep doing what you're doing, don't stop what you're doing, you know, DPS until you say you're gonna DPS. Even if you're gonna free the people, you're gonna DPS until the moment you say, guys, I'm gonna free now, and that's when you stop and start moving.
Also for the DPSs, you know that as with Oppressor you need to stay in line with the pillar, but don't stay too close, because for example, if you stay too close where I am standing right now, you may get hit by the boss and you are going to die. So don't stay too close, just stay a little bit farther, like where am I right now. It's a perfect spot for DPSing, but not close, not here. For example, here you will get hit by the main by the side boss, just a little bit to the back, and here is the perfect place to DPS.
Yeah. Let's assume you kill all four mini bosses. If you're capable of killing all four mini bosses, there is like a 90% guarantee that you're gonna finish the raid. Even if a healer gets encased, don't panic. Really, don't panic. This whole Odyssey feed is about playing it calmly, playing it synchronized. You know, the whole group must be in harmony. You pop your supplies or you share your supplies. You drink colas. You use your sidekicks, and by watching the main boss's role, you carefully release the healer. You know, it's that easy. We've been releasing healers while fighting mini bosses, while fighting the main boss. You can do it because we can do it too. And let's assume the four mini bosses are dead. Just do your thing, continue, play from the safe spot still, because you know you may think everything is safe now. You're gonna make Odyssey feed, but try standing as group between these two pillars, and the main boss will make a roll. Even though there's no more mini boss and all that stuff, he will wipe the group. So keep playing it safe, get your feet, get your loot, and rest that. I guess we kind of covered everything.
Yeah.
I suggest that you watch this movie simultaneously with one of the movies of Odyssey feed or either the speed feed of Kaiser. Pause this movie while watching maybe examples of how we kill a mini boss while we talk about it in this movie, you know, so you can kind of understand what we're saying while watching us actually in action, you know.
The thing we covered now, we basically covered every, well, I could say almost every possible aspect that would happen. That's why this talk has been ongoing for so long. But at the end of the day, you're only as good as your teammate next to you is. So if you're a player that likes to play it solo, you're not going to end up too well in the Epic Odyssey feat, because you are only as dependent as the guy that's next to you, you know.
Yeah, this is no, you know, don't, I always tell my league, because in our league it may sound funny, but we have a lot of people that love DPSing. They're really good DPS, but they're also always in competition. I always tell them this is not a competition, don't press Y or you're kicked from the league. Of course it's a joke, but really
some
this
curse
is
words are involved sometimes. Yes, I see.
Yeah, but this is important, you know. This is not a damage competition. You need to do what you need to do, you know. I mean, there is times maybe I could be ending up first on the scoreboard. That's awesome, you know, that's super cool. But then I just give that up by saying, okay guys, you stay in position, I'm gonna do the freeing. In fact, you can see this in the speed feed video. There is some moments where Kaiser's encased while the group is actually continuing what they are doing, and I'm freeing totally alone. If you watch the video, you'll notice. Freeing is not necessary. If you're killing the boss and he's below half HP when the first one's gonna get caged, you know that you've been killing him very nice. Let's say assume a troller and a DPS is in. If you don't want to risk the main boss rolling on you, and you're sure that you're gonna kill the mini boss with 6 players instead of 7 or 8, just continue what you're doing, you know. It's up to you in the end. Sometimes we free the guys that are caged, sometimes we don't. It really depends of who we need or what we need, you know.
Okay, so now I guess I'm free to do what I wanted to do since the beginning.
Oh my god. No!
Such expected thing from Kaiser to do. Give me another repair bill.
I can't.
Well, I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary, and if Kaiser gets positive feedback, we really hope he does. I'm sure that we would enjoy doing even more commentaries, even sometimes maybe during a raid. Who knows?
Yeah, and guys, please don't insult or flame or blame us. This is just the way we do it, and there is many ways to do it, you know. This is just our way of doing it, and we like sharing it. So
we're up for constructive criticism, and we don't mind listening to you, but please just don't be insultive. And one thing I forgot to add, sorry for our English, because none of our primary languages is English, so we're kind of struggling with having full sentences without cutting them with a or something like that. Hope you managed to understand everything. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them on Kaiser's comments. We will gladly answer them. And sorry, Gina, you were saying something?
Yeah, fix the Pro7 launcher, please.
Yeah, fix it. So, okay. Thanks for watching and see you soon.
oh, let me wave.
This is so not cool. I crashed like at the beginning and I couldn't log in. I can log in and you guys like, see you soon. Oh.